Hello and welcome back to the only show with more hut talk than a stuttering quarterback. I'm Max.
I'm Matt.
I'm Luke.
And this is Force for Thought. Alright, hello and welcome back. Today we are discussing the Mandalorian and Grogu trailer, the official trailer that just dropped. It is action-packed, and I'm excited to discuss it. Not only does it have a bunch of action, but it has a bunch of cameos, and not too much in the way of plot, in my opinion. So I, for one, have no hot takes. I absolutely love this trailer. I thought it was fantastic. My biggest takeaway was mostly just how cinematic it looked. It looked much better than the teaser that originally came out. Matt, maybe you can explain that a little bit better than what I understand. It has to be something with editing. I don't know if it's coloring or what it is, but it just looks beautiful. The action looks awesome. I'm excited. That shot of Mandalorian walking through the doorway with his flamethrower going first and then just beating up those snow troopers was so badass. And we got lots of great cameos. The most notable one is Embo coming back. Very excited for that. That was not something that was on my radar. I don't know if you guys saw, but apparently Martin Scorsese is that Anzellan, that or Ardinian that Mandalorian talks to. So I thought that was funny. And I feel like we still don't have a good feel for who the big bad is for the film, unless it's the Hutt twins, which I don't think it will be for a lot of different reasons, but I think the scope of the story needs to go beyond just the criminal underworld if they're going to make an event out of this and make it, you know, a truly cinematic experience instead of just Mandalorian Season 4 the movie. That said, we all believe that this is just Mandalorian Season 4 the movie, so maybe that is exactly what it is, but they don't appear to be pulling any punches, and Jon Favreau has been talking a lot about making this a cinematic experience and stepping up the story to also match that cinematic experience. One problem they do have, however, is they can't also crank up the story too much without running into the same problem that every Marvel movie has, which is, you know, why don't they just call Luke Skywalker if this turns out to be, you know, a big enough fiasco or whatever. But I did see a theory online that I think I want to buy into, which is that Colonel Ward will actually turn out to be the villain, but we can discuss that more later when we get into our theories for the movie. Those are just kind of some of my initial thoughts before we break this trailer down scene by scene, but I want to get yours as well. So, Luke, what did you think of the trailer?
Strongly pro. I am excited to no longer be shouldering the majority of marketing for the Mandalorian and Grogu movie. I won't say that I have a large platform. You know, a couple people watch our podcast, but mostly among you two and my friends and family, I have been doing all of the legwork for promoting this movie for the last 6 months, and I'm excited now to have my burden relieved. The trailer looked great. Yeah, the vibe I was seeing on Reddit this morning, which I don't know if that's a good litmus test for the internet, but I feel like it's not bad. There were a lot of comments like, okay, this actually looks good, and okay, like Star Wars might be back, and this and that, like positive comments that were frustrating me nonetheless because Star Wars didn't go anywhere. This is exactly what we were expecting from this movie for the last year, and now you're just on board also. Like, this was not surprising at all to me. Everything seems right down the middle of the road for what I wanted to see and what I expected to see, and I maintain my very high level of excitement for this movie that I've had for some time.
Matthew, what
Good
do
on
you think?
Max, I was so on board with you for a lot, and I feel like there's so much to go through, what you talked about specifically. I was a little nervous when the trailer first started, to be honest. Again, breaking it down scene by scene, we'll do in a bit. But I felt like at first I was like, okay, it's relying on like the old score, trying to make you feel nostalgic. Some of the jokes honestly didn't land for me a little bit. Overall, though, I was very, very excited once the trailer got going, and I was very happy to be back in it. When I watched the first trailer, I think they're calling it a trailer, not a teaser, the first go around, I was less than excited, I would say. And then the Super Bowl commercial ad, I would say, I was excited to see Star Wars on television, but ultimately made me a little more weary. Yeah. What, Luke?
I thought you were about to endorse that Super Bowl ad. And
No.
I liked it.
No,
I encourage that behavior.
I do not encourage like a half baked Bud Light-esque commercial. But then so I was a little worried about it, but then this trailer really got me excited and really got me going for to get excited to go and see this forged in IMAX film on May 22nd. I think it was great. The
You're
action's
really
great.
fixed on that, aren't you?
It
The
is, and
forge.
so I love when they make things that we see all the time for films and stuff, but they just put their spin on it. Like, yeah, it's not filmed; it was forged. Like, I love that kind of copy. Like, it's so cool. I know this is like the second time they've done it, but it still works for me. But yeah, I was fully on board with it. I think there's a lot of like interesting things that are going to happen where story wise we're going to understand why Din Djarin goes back into the world of the underground. Why are him and Grogu so dead set on eliminate every single person in Sigourney Weaver's deck of bandits basically? Like that's a little confusing considering we know where they got left off. I mean, it could be definitely something to do with Grief Karga, maybe not being around, maybe he gets murdered or something. I'm not sure if they would do Carl Weathers dirty like that. The one thing I will say, Maxwell, is that I do disagree. I think the big bad are the Hutts. And I think that Embo is going to be obviously the person hunting them since they are fairly immobile. I don't think there's going to be a really big secret reveal. I mean, the biggest thing that I think, the first thing I thought of, I'm sure everyone did, I saw one comment, maybe a couple of comments, is that the movie's going to end presumably with Grogu's first words, right? Like that's going to be the thing. That's going to be the last little bit. I'm excited to see that, which I feel like has every single chance of happening. But I think it's going to be a lot of cool things. But I do think the Hutts personally are the big bads, with Embo, the one who's going to do the legwork, hunting the hunters. Basically, is the vibe that I get. And like any Star Wars trailer, I'm sure we've seen the first act only. This feels, with Pedro Pascal's helmet off, which is also really funny because I feel like they're like, he is under the suit this time. Like he's going to have his helmet off for at least a couple scenes. And so I feel like there seems to be emotion. There seems to be jokes. It does look really good. I do think the choices that they made, and then I think the story around it ultimately makes it more cinematic. I think when they were hiding things in the first trailer, it left a lot of questions, but I think the way they're showing it, and then the way they're showing the scope, even like the giant monster creature underwater, that's beautiful looking, and it looks great. Like some of it looks practical, some of it looks CG, and then you get these funny moments too, but you get all these creatures, and I think the moments they picked to show is fantastic too. And between all these different worlds, we're seeing a lot of cityscapes, we're seeing a lot of like rural, we're seeing things that look like Endor, we're seeing things that look like Hoth, and I love the scope of it. Anyway, I think all of us are running along besides Luke, so good on you, Luke.
Thank you.
And I also do agree with Luke, though, that I, too, was trying to gauge the internet's reaction, which seemed overwhelmingly positive, which is great. I didn't see, like, one person complaining or have anything negative to say about it, except for, and I wouldn't call this, like, a negative or anything, but I just saw some people saying, like, oh, this should have been the first trailer. But then you got other people defending it, being like, no, this is the first trailer. What you saw previously was the teaser. And it does draw into question a lot of like Hollywood's current practices right now with doing teasers and then an advertisement for the trailer and then the trailer itself, because that's basically what happened here. But I mean, be careful what you ask for, because like Luke, you were just saying, like, you've been doing all the heavy lifting for the promoting of this, and we want, more to be able to hang our hat on to look forward to and stuff. And it's like, okay, well then you're going to get teasers, but then you're going to get teasers. It's not going to be like the full thing. It might not look as finished and stuff like that. So I don't know. It's definitely a catch-22 that I understand. But I, for one, am pro more Star Wars content. I'm not going to say like, oh, this Super Bowl ad was silly, you guys shouldn't have done it. Like, no. If it was silly and it had nothing to do with the movie, I still liked it. It was fun. You got to see Tauntauns pulling a carriage. Like, who doesn't want to see that?
It just raised... The reason I don't like it is because that raised questions. It didn't answer any questions, and it just made me confused, let alone the average fan. It wasn't supposed to
answer questions. It was just fun.
No, it wasn't. It wasn't supposed to answer questions, and it didn't answer questions. But it could at least not produce new questions that thou need answered.
I think the biggest thing for me was that it was a confusing play. Because usually you get an exciting 15-second spot that says, watch the full trailer online now. But instead, I think we were all convinced this was going to be like a Bud Light spot. Like, it had the tone and the vibe, and it didn't look as quality as...
Yeah, that's what it was going for. That's why it was fun.
No, that's why it's confusing, like Luke's saying. It's.
They even had Sam Elliott voice it. I think that was Sam Elliott. Clearly someone who sounds like him if it wasn't.
Like
also
I think I'm still confused. Like I think it's fun if it is just a Super Bowl ad, but I was like, is this in the movie? Like I think it's like Luke said, there's so many questions now, and I think it feels like a Super Bowl spot because the quality it just feels different than the movie, right? Like when you're looking, you're like, oh, this doesn't feel like movie quality, but then that raises questions when we see the first trailer, which we had questions about. Now the Super Bowl spot, which is like, is this a trailer? Because it just feels like a TV spot. Now that we get the full second trailer, like an actual story trailer, you're like, oh, this actually does look really good. But I think that the Tauntaun sleigh in a year will be really fun to look back on. But at the time, very confusing marketing ploy to be like, we have to be at the Super Bowl. I agree. Does it have to be this without any answers? I don't know. It's a little weird. Like I wish they would have released the trailer in tandem with that little ad. As a 1-2 punch.
I don't know how the money works, but I know how my
Same,
money
you know?
works, and so I assume it's relatively similar. And I know that Super Bowl ads are egregiously expensive. I don't remember how expensive, but let's say Disney paid $50 million to put that ad in on the Super Bowl. I feel like they could have gotten paid $10 million to just have Mando and Grogu in a Bud Light ad and gotten the exact same impact out of it. And then we would have had an extra $60 million to actually market this movie, which I am very much dreading the marketing of this movie because we've talked before about how we're behind releasing what we've already recorded. Last week or the week before, I was just talking about how they're going to start marketing Mandalorian and Grogu after Avatar, which came out in December. That was 2 months ago now, and I was so certain that as soon as Avatar wraps up, that marketing for Mando and Grogu would kick up, and it has not. I mean, we got in a trailer now, but that's really the bare minimum for a movie 3 months out. That's what you would do. That's what A24 does. Like, what? There should be so much more behind this still, and I'm worried that I'm going to be continually disappointed with it for the rest of my life, like I was with Solo.
Well, maybe you can be dissatisfied with the marketing for the movie, but I don't think we're any dissatisfied. I don't think any of us are dissatisfied with the actual trailer. So let's talk about it. So kind of going through shot by shot, we get that first shot of the X-Wings in the sunset. Very reminiscent of The Force Awakens as well as Apocalypse Now, which is like where it was like originally from. And I didn't realize that until I saw people pointing that out. And I thought that was funny because I too associated it with The Force Awakens.
Yeah, I didn't even like that. That was my least favorite part of the trailer, that it opened with that, because
Same.
Yeah, that's a Force Awakens shot. Like,
Yeah,
do something original.
And the score too. I was like,
No.
don't play on.
Well,
Don't play on.
It was the
my
Mandalorian
emotions.
score.
I
It was
know,
the
just
Mandalorian
feels-
score,
yeah,
though,
what
so
did you
that
say,
doesn't
Matthew?
matter.
I was just about to say that was like my favorite part. Okay, so
Oh, that's your favorite part of the trailer.
we
Max,
see,
that's not
we
good.
we see them open, right? And then we see, I'm kind of jumping up ahead a little bit here. So we see them starting up the crest and everything, and it starts with that classic Star Wars music, and then the music kind of like abruptly cuts out when Grogu starts smashing the buttons, and then Din Djarin has to yell at him.
Yeah.
And then it cuts to the rest of the trailer using the Mandalorian music. It was like the perfect segue. Like, this is Star Wars. It's
Maybe it
everything
is-
you know. It's the fun and
Yeah.
everything.
Maybe
And then
it's
it
the
has, like, this
shot.
nice transition into, oh, but this is the new Star Wars. This is, the next thing.
Maybe it is the shot then that we start on that is throwing me off, that I don't like as well. Also, that's
what
R2,
bothered me.
Right? The unit's red, I believe.
I just pulled it up again. It is a really brief moment, but I believe it is R2. It's blue. He's blue. I think that's R2. The lighting is kind of weird because it's
red. Yeah. I feel
No,
like
it's
that
not
is-
red. He's blue. That's a blue
Max,
droid.
You be the deciding factor, but I am pretty sure that is red.
I did not think it was R2D2.
It's not.
I
Okay,
am-
I'm confirming that right now. If you Luke, go to 5 seconds in the trailer. That is.
I'm
a
there.
red
I'm
droid, my
about
friend.
to post it in
And
our,
you're saying
in our
that's blue?
voice in our text channel. Yeah, and you can put it on the screen when you edit it for the audience, because that's a blue droid. Like, he's in the around at sunset, so it's shining on him weird. But yeah, that's a blue droid.
Luke, I've never seen
I
more of a
don't
red
wanna-
droid my entire life. That's insane,
I don't
my
want to
friend.
dig my heels in too far. I reserve the right to change my mind. I didn't think it was R2.
Yeah, but can you agree, Max, so that right now that is a red droid on screen that Luke shared?
I'm not even in the text channel. Hold on.
You're gonna have to
Girl.
edit this in because
Oh yeah,
That
don't worry,
droid is so blue.
Oh my god.
This is a real what were the colors of the dress
Yes,
that took
yeah.
the internet by storm?
I
the blue
agree.
dress, gold dress fiasco.
Yeah.
It looks very red to me. I would say
Thank
it's a
you.
red droid.
Okay, I'm gonna need every single person to comment because that is actually insane to me.
Oh my god.
You don't have to admit that it's R2, but I mean it. I just
No,
don't think
I
that
can
that's
admit
a
I would
red
almost-
droid.
I would rather say that is. To be fair, we're talking the flourishes where the blue would be. It is white with red flourishes.
Where the blue would be is dark. That's the dark part.
Yes, the dark red part. Yes.
I mean, when it on the left where the sun is really hitting it, it does look kind of red, but that's because of the sun. Like on the right side, it's blue.
All right. Well, we're moving on. It doesn't matter. We'll get a poll out there and we'll get other people's opinions. But moving on, we then see Mandalorian and Grogu travel to what looks like Coruscant. It's some sort of city planet, seedy city planet. Maybe it's Nar Shaddaa, for information on a hut. And we see him talking to an Ardinian who is voiced by Martin Scorsese, which I think is funny. I'm very excited about it. I'm a huge Martin Scorsese fan, although I've only ever seen Shark Tale.
I was like setting up for that joke. Is so good, Max. That was my biggest takeaway from this trailer was Martin Scorsese's voice is great. I love that. I'm so confused of why he's in Star Wars, to be honest. I mean, he's criticized Star Wars and Marvel and Disney and yada yada, so it's a little confusing why he's in specifically Mandalorian and not something like an Andor. I'm glad he is, I guess, but I see nothing but film bros trashing this movie because Martin Scorsese's name is attached to it, which is concerning to me. A little bit. But.
I would hardly say it's attached to it. I think what we saw in the trailer is as much Martin Scorsese content as we're going to get in the movie anyway.
I agree, but just you wait. I have a feeling that people are going to come for it for some reason.
I like to think Jon Favreau was really hyping up the role of voicing an Ardinian. Like, no, Martin Scorsese, this is as good as it gets when you're in Star Wars. That's what I did, and it was amazing. Everyone loves me for it.
All right, and then moving on, we see a little bit of the Hutt twins in their syndicate lair. We kind of saw a little bit of that in the teaser already. The Hutt twins were already on the poster. We knew that they were going to be in it, so that wasn't a surprise, but they looked really good, and I was excited to see them return again from their Book of Boba Fett debut. But I like that shot. If you look, there's also like these gigantic droids outside the door to the syndicate lair, which look pretty menacing. And I think it was a shot in the teaser. Din Djarin was fighting them, so I'm excited to see that battle go down.
Ooh,
Yep.
I did not notice those droids until just now. Yeah, those things are huge. They look awesome.
They're in the first
And
trailer.
then
I remember him fighting him in the first trailer. Yeah, but I mean, just
Yeah.
in this shot, like I had to pull it up because I didn't know what you were talking about. It's like really on the edge of that shot, but yeah.
but they look pretty cool.
Anything
There's
with
so
snow.
many cool droids and creatures that I saw in this trailer. And another thing about making this look cinematic was that all of it looked great. Like you said, Matt, like I think there was a good combination of practical versus CG, but there were so many aliens and creatures, and every single one, I was just like, yep, I like looking at that.
I agree. I think that's the thing too, is that like, you know, we're talking about like Andor, oh my God, Andor being the quality of it, and I think this tells you everything you need to know about Mando and Grogu, even if there's like moments of your like, it's not as serious, or people can complain about this, and people are going to complain about whatever and yada yada. But I think that this movie and these trailers are showing you straight up what it's going to be, and it is a fun adventure with a lot of cute jokes in it. And like when I show this trailer to Levi, yes, he's too young to watch this trailer, but he really, I mean, he says Grogu all the time, and he loved saying Grogu every single time he's on screen. And like, you know, being a parent of like, you know, a 2-year-old, it is funny to be like, yes, this is exactly how it is to raise a 2-year-old. Like, except in saying like, you know, we're gonna go to battle, like put your armor on. It's mostly like make sure your boots are on when you splash in puddles, basically, or whatever. But I really do like that. This
exact same thing,
right? Yeah, I do love that this trailer is really showing you face forward that this is going to be a fun watch, like with your kids. Like obviously I'm not going to watch this with Levi, but like in a couple of years, like this is going to be a blast. And I think this is the Star Wars that is going to be fun to introduce our kids to when they're old enough and they want to watch Star Wars.
Oh, they'll want to.
No, they'll want to. Yeah. I mean, Levi says
So
Boba
help
Fett
me.
every single day of his life, and he has no idea who Boba Fett is besides the helmet. Fett, fat, fat. Every single time. Wants to put the helmet on.
When we specifically Matt and I used to talk about this a lot before we started the podcast. One of the reasons why we wanted to start the podcast was because we wanted to listen to other people talk about things like trailers, and then we would watch like reactions on YouTube, and it would just be by like a bunch of dumb people who are saying things that are just like obviously incorrect, and we're just like, all right, I know more than you. We can turn you off now. And that happened to me a lot today when I was trying to see what people were saying about this trailer, because every single planet that we saw, which we saw a lot of different planets, people just kept like assuming that there were places that we've already been before.
Oh, yeah.
Because the next shot that I
Yep.
wanted to talk about was
Hoth.
the Imperial Remnant in the snow planet. Yeah, like, oh, it's snowy. And then everyone's just like taking that for granted. They're just like, oh, and then it looks like we're going back to Hoth. And like I heard a whole guy break down like why that's ironic, because it used to house a rebel base there, and now it's the home of the Imperial Remnant. And I'm like, you're putting a lot of stock in the fact that it's snow. Like that's it.
Yes.
Like yes, maybe it's Hoth, but you should absolutely not assume that, because we've also seen multiple ice/snow planets already in Star Wars.
In
Like,
Mandalorian.
I don't think this is Elam either, but like it could be in Mandalorian as well. That's another great example.
Yeah.
But anyway, that's why I was also hedging a little bit when I said that it was like a seedy city-like planet, because I'm like, oh, maybe
don't
it's
say Coruscant?
but I also think it's probably Nar Shaddaa. But
Could be Dayu
anyway,
from Kenobi.
Yes.
could be
It,
Dayu.
it looks
I
like
forgot about that
Dayu,
one.
but it also I think it's because it is some of it is filmed the same way as Kenobi. But I was like, oh, maybe that is why.
Yeah,
That's
I
not a
bet
bad
they're.
thing.
I bet they're mostly, if not all, unique planets. Maybe Coruscant because it's plot reasons, but there's no like people love to give Star Wars a hard time for always going back to Tatooine, and that's fair. But there's a vested interest in going back to Tatooine for the nostalgia and everything. Like no one cares about Hoth or Endor or Dayu or Nar Shaddaa. Like it could be anywhere, and given the artistic liberty to do anything, most creators choose to make their own.
As they should. That's
Yeah.
the fun thing about Star Wars. Expand it. But yeah, I just wanted to mention that shot. The Imperial Remnant is hanging out on this snow planet.
But
But that one guy who says, "Long live the Empire."
I agree that it's frustrating listening to people that know less than you talk about it. Just recently, someone was trying to convince me that this blue droid is red, and it's like, no, it's not.
Look, that was really funny. I
That's why
disagree
we
so
also have 3
hardcore, but
people,
that was
because
really
we
funny.
need a mix of opinions.
This podcast would be a
All right, and then we get
disaster
that
if it was
line.
two of us.
We get that line from Mandalorian. He says, "We'll take out every bad guy in your deck of cards," which I think is pretty cool, and it makes sense because where we saw Mandalorian leave off was as an independent contractor, basically saying that he was going to help out the New Republic, but he's also a bounty hunter, so he's basically just bounty hunting for the Republic. So it's
Do
like,
you-
all right,
Do you wish
That
that,
makes
there
sense.
was a person on the card that he is given? And do you think that is specifically taken out? Because it is... I know they could be a holopuck or whatever, but I feel like it's so odd that there's nobody there. It's just a blank space. And I'm like, is that
I thought of
edited
that
out?
too.
that's
I did
Right?
not think it could be edited out, and now I do because it looked jarring, like jarring,
Yes.
and
Hey, bring it
there's
back.
there's no reason
Well,
to do that.
damn.
Yeah, I think that's
Sorry,
a
that
face.
joke hasn't been said yet on this podcast. Wait 3 weeks and that joke will be here.
Star Wars,
Anyway.
I mean, I guess I'm really just thinking of Rogue One when I say has a history of trailer shots that don't end up in the film. But it's really Marvel that does that a lot. A lot of Marvel trailers will be specifically edited to be misleading.
Yes. And Jon
or the
Favreau.
entire character will be edited out.
Yes.
So,
Marvel man
I mean, that's
himself.
Disney. So, they could be doing the same thing here. I didn't think about that.
I don't think it's just weird that like it's a blank card. Like he says all the bad guys in your deck of cards, and then they literally show a card and there's no one on it. Like it. I mean, there's like again that could be a thumbprint where like a holopuck would show up or something. So it could just be the technology. But that I just found that to be odd if that is in fact just a single card with somebody on it. It again, who knows? All hearsay and conjecture. Lawyer talk.
Mando's thumb is conveniently below the image that you would crop out and replace with a face or with a blank silhouette. So maybe he intentionally didn't grab it on the spot that's going to be digitally replaced.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too.
Oh man, if we, I didn't come up with this, but apparently you guys thought of it. So if you guys nailed this and that turns out to be the case, I'm gonna freak out, man. That's crazy.
It looks like C-3PO's silhouette if you zoom in on
Because
it.
that's gonna be like such an interesting lens to look through future trailers with. Because like I said, they already do it with Marvel. So it's like when the Doomsday trailer drops, people are going to be looking and being like, is there anything in here that looks like it was poorly edited or something to be misleading or left out?
Is the lizard getting smacked in the face by absolutely nobody? Remember that with the Spider-Man No Way Home trailer?
Yes.
Oh, yes. I do
course.
remember that.
When 3 Spider-Man jump at 3 villains, but they edited out the other 2, and then one of the villains still gets smacked.
Yeah, so it is already happening. And anyway, okay. And then we get the shot of the Mandalorian walking into that Imperial Remnant room with his flamethrower leading the way. That is such a badass shot. Just when you
Yes.
think that they can't make Mandalorian any more badass and that they've used his kit every single way possible, they still find ways to surprise you. It was so simple. It's just 2 stormtroopers, but I was like,
it's awesome.
oh.
It's
Flamethrower
it got me
on
that
the
Part of the
ground.
trailer where I was sold. I was like, okay, this is going to be good.
It got me the
Yeah.
feeling of the first episode where he chops the guy in half in the cantina. And I like that
Yes.
they actually let it play out the entire time. There wasn't like an action cutting or anything. Like it was just it played out, and it was awesome to see. Also, to backtrack for 1 second, is I love Grogu giving the salute. I think that was hilarious. He's got his little chest plate
yep.
on, and that's just that was just Levi loved it. So, anyway, go on. Yes, sorry, I think that moment was great. Also, Din Djarin looking like a short king in that shot. I think just because of the angle, but.
I didn't
Anyway.
think that.
Force perspective, too. He's walking in a hallway towards the camera.
Yeah, the stormtroopers are closer to the camera than Din Djarin. It's like when you see a ship on the horizon, it looks really small, but it's actually just
perspective is. All right. Anyway, we also get the shot of Grogu killing a mouse droid. I like that a lot. Basically, if I'm kind of overthinking the mechanics of how we use the Force, it's Force choking again, right? I mean, he just destroyed something with his hands because we recently talked about how how Grogu was using Force choke in an episode of Mandalorian, and we were like, oh, that's dark. Apparently, that's one of his abilities that he's been practicing.
Yep.
I don't want to get into the weeds about this. This conversation doesn't excite me, but it does. The droid does explode outward, which would imply that it's a different skill to explode rather than implode with the Force.
That's
You know what I
interesting.
mean?
Force.
Luke, that's actually really interesting. I don't want to go any further either, but I'm also glad that you think the conversation blue versus red is worth it and not this. But that actually is an interesting point, Luke.
Thank you.
I love that.
I digress about
He's
the.
not Force crushing, he's Force exploding.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Unless you can like target a specific aspect of something inside a mechanical, so you explode that inside, which makes all the gears explode. I don't know. It doesn't matter. Like you said, that's a boring conversation, but a really interesting thought. I don't know how that's possible, but it is true.
And then we get the line of dialogue from Colonel Ward where she says, it's not about revenge, it's about preventing another war.
Yeah.
Which
Dun,
I don't have
dun,
too much
dun.
thoughts on. Seems like a pretty boilerplate Star Wars language.
It
We're
does,
not in the Galactic Civil War, nor are we in the First Order era. So I was like, yeah, that makes sense. That's their MO. But it also makes sense that she's talking about revenge because, how do you move on from everything that just happened?
Cue the Kirby Enthusiasm music, though, because I was like, all right, well, that lasts 20 years. And then we're back at it.
Great job, Sigourney Weaver.
Yeah, exactly. I was like, ooh, boy.
And then the next, maybe my favorite part of the trailer was the reveal that Embo is back. So this was very exciting. Embo is back in live action. We saw some shots of him. We saw his dog. I don't know what kind of creature it is. And what looks like he's outside of Din Djarin's house. So maybe...
Oh, I didn't even
presumably
notice that.
hunting
Ooh.
Din Djarin or the child.
Good call,
Yeah,
Maxwell.
it looks like it's Din Djarin's hut in the background where we last saw him at the end of season 3.
We
You gotta
didn't
call it a
recognize it
different word.
because It's never
Well,
been
talk.
dark and rainy on Navarro like that, but that's a good way to hide a alien design to make him look even better. Have it be dark and rainy. I wonder if any other effects heavy shows or movies have considered that angle.
Are you trolling us right now?
What's going on right now? Fuck up.
Yes,
We're
I
not
am.
talking about whatever. There's only so many times we can. Okay. Yes, that's whatever.
He looks great.
Lucas.
The problem is this is such a flashy episode that more people are going to listen to this one and they're going to be like, "Oh, that's a really good insight, Luke," and no one's going to be listening to our Mandalorian season 1 episode 6 review or wherever the hell we're talking about that in 20 different ways. But yeah, Embo's back. That's very exciting. He looked incredible. It's such a random, it makes sense, like, because it's Dave Filoni, and you're like, thank you, Dave. You would do this. But I don't know. I hate just being so won over by minor cameos, but
No, it's
God damn
fun.
it if it's not effective.
Yeah, like what you like. We knew that Embo was in this movie before. We'd never seen him, but the novelty is not hitting me as hard as it's hitting you.
I agree. I was just
You
hoping.
knew he was in this movie already?
I thought we
Was that
talked about
revealed?
it. I knew,
Yeah,
I guess.
I know physically he
did
doesn't
not.
make.
I at least forgot about it.
I also am in the camp where I did not know. I for a split second, that shot's pretty quick, and then comes back to him, and you just see the hat, and I was hoping it was Cad Bane again, to bring it back. But
You weren't hoping it was Cad Bane. You'd rather it be Embo than Cad Bane, right?
No, I thought it would be Cad
I
Bane.
don't know. Cad Bane, yeah.
You don't.
I mean, they're both equally. I would rather it be Embo in this instance just because we haven't seen him in live action yet. But
That's true.
Cad Bane would tickle his gun for you with that low shot of his hip, and we know how much we love that.
I love a good Western draw. All right, and then we see a shot of Mando once again being unmasked in front of the Hutts, who then threaten him, saying, "You will suffer," and then it will be his turn. Presumably talking about that white water serpent thing that we see in a couple shots later. But
Do you think that's going to
yeah,
be?
what do we think about that?
The Rancor
is he
scene?
being captured? Is he giving himself up voluntarily to try to save Grogu? I don't know what's going on there, but I just think it's funny that he's being unmasked yet again because it's Pedro Pascal. So it's like, well, we got to find a way to get his face, but also it's a big deal for them. So it's like, I don't know.
Yeah,
I
there's
assume
pros and
he's-
cons of the guy that you casted to be in a full bodysuit all of the time, becoming the biggest movie star in the world over the last 6 years.
Mm-hmm.
Correct. And this is it.
When he's fighting those droids, I assume that's on the way in, and then he gets captured because it's the same exact door in the background when he's kneeling, and so I assume this could be before, this could be after he's Well, I guess I don't know. He's probably gonna go against Rada the Hutt, right? And so he's in some sort of I don't know. I don't know. I have nothing to say on this. What I'm realizing, I'm wasting everyone's time.
I mean, it depends how big of characters they are. Like I said, if they are the big bad, then presumably he's going to go visit them multiple times. But we'll see how the plot shakes out. All right, but then Matt, I think you kind of referenced this part earlier, which is Grogu suiting up, and Mandalorian saying, "If we're going into harm's way, check your armor." He gets a little suit up scene. He puts on some gauntlets and he tightens his little chest piece.
So
You know,
cute.
I love that.
I hope he gets to be just like Din Djarin and get shot 15 times directly in that chest piece,
Only in that chest.
just like his daddy.
And then we get a couple more shots. Grogu riding with the Anzellans. We already know that they were in it, but it's also satisfying. Grogu, we get a little quick montage of Grogu walking with some sort of walking stick and meditating, presumably some sort of mystical journey of self-discovery. And then a line from Din Djarin, which talks about something that I've been bringing up multiple times that they do need to address, and I'm glad that they're going to do it in this movie, which is that Grogu is going to far outlive him. And so he has this line, "The kid will live centuries beyond me. I won't always be around to protect him." So I love that line because it makes me optimistic that they're going to lean into that and Mandalorian kind of thinks a little bit more about their future and a little more character development, introspection type stuff will kind of come out of that. But Grogu's walking around with some sort of walking stick. You see him like meditating on a tree branch. Mm-hmm. This was the other thing that upset me because like it vaguely resembled a swamp. And so one of the videos that I was watching was, again, absolutely convinced that Grogu was going back to Yoda's hut and that this was Dagobah. And
oh my God, people!
Maybe
that's
like
so
I can't
annoying,
say
though.
that it's not, but like it's definitely not. So it was annoying me. But whatever planet it is seemed interesting. Maybe some additional Jedi training going on there.
That's so annoying that people are just consistently drawing lines. And to be fair, Star Wars has set us up to basically be like, yes, everyone's related to somebody. Everyone's doing this. But it is annoying that like a single trailer drops and I'm like, are people that desperate for content? Like the reason we also start, not that we're doing it right necessarily, right? I mean, I think we are for us, not for everybody, but like the reason that we have this podcast, and I hope, I'm glad people like it and listen to it and like reach out to us and stuff too. But the whole point is for us to talk about this and have conjecture and hopefully people find that interesting. But like, we're not just going online, spreading our thoughts because we're trying to convince people that we're smarter than they are, or that because we know more Star Wars knowledge that this is a certain planet. Like that is crazy to even suggest it. I feel like at this point when you're just seeing that one, I don't know. That annoys me, and I think what I'm saying is the internet annoys me, and I'm tired and cranky today.
Well, what's annoying about the internet is you don't even know what's sincere, because I also don't discount the fact that a lot of these comments, especially like the comments on like the YouTube video of the trailer, which was actually hilarious to me, it's just social engineering and engagement farming. Like people are literally commenting like, "Wow, at whatever minute marker it is, looks a lot like Embo," or something like that, just to get the 10,000 comments that immediately replied saying, it is Embo. It's like, yeah, no fucking duh. Like, this person knows that it's Embo.
I mean, if you that's such a niche character. What is he in, like 6 episodes? Of like, it's like, yeah, you're gonna... If you have to say that it's Embo, you know it's Embo. How many episodes is Embo in?
The other one was too, but now I forget what it was. You said 6? That's a good guess.
I would guess 6.
He wasn't in Rebels, was he? I think he was only in Clone Wars.
No,
yeah,
Rebels.
I can't picture him in
7
that animation style.
7. Wow, that was an excellent line, Matthew.
Yeah, just confirming 7. Thank you. Sorry, now we're distracted by the episodes that Embo's in.
So. No, my notes are very loosely structured, so I'm trying to find out where I was. All right, then we get the shot of Mandalorian entering the ring with Rada the Hutt.
Loved it.
Exciting.
Loved it.
Yeah.
I can see why they had to cast Jeremy Allen White. I'm starting to see him in the resemblance.
Yeah. Do you think he's doing? Oh, this. I don't know if anyone's.
There's no way he's doing mocap. Is that what? That's what you're gonna say?
Yeah, I was about to say. Is he doing mocap? Because
no.
It's like who? Oh my gosh, Benedict Cumberbatch did mocap for Smaug, and it's like, why are you doing this for this dragon? Like, this is the most unhumanly role that you could play. Like,
they didn't use any of it.
The opposite of helpful.
They
Did they really?
They literally did not use any of it. It was just for him to get into character.
Well, then why did they light him up? Why did they put him in the suit and everything?
I think they might have intended to use it one time, but in the end, they did not use any of it.
I imagine he also, to get into character, had sex with a donkey, thinking it was Shrek and not Smaug.
What?
What? He's playing the dragon in Shrek. Married a donkey. You read the wrong script. Sorry, guys, I'm way off my game. I'm so disappointed. This is going to be listened to more than the other episodes.
Then we get the shot of Grogu talking to an alien. I don't even know what species it was. But the little alien guy says, "Are you scared?" And Grogu shakes his head, yes. And then he says, "You should be." A very common thing. I don't want to overlook that, but it was reminiscent of Yoda talking to Luke in Empire when he says, "You should be," or "You will be."
I want to see that creature in
you know what I'm talking about.
A racing pod, though. I mean, that creature looks straight out of Phantom Menace, and I absolutely love that. And he's got like
He
that
looks
little
great.
Watto belly a little bit too, when he's sitting in.
And he's
but
on a
I was-
rocking
yeah.
chair.
The way his
Yes.
face came down too, it looked like who's the Jedi from Clone Wars? We see his dead body in Obi-Wan Kenobi. He was like frozen.
Terra
Oh,
Sinube,
Terra
yes,
Sinube.
yes,
He
yes,
kind of looked like that species. I don't think it was. but he
Castellan.
reminded
Just
me
flexing
of
now.
that.
Off the
Wow.
dome. Yeah,
That
good,
is
good for you,
fucking
Luke.
incredible that you just pulled that out of thin air. Did you have the same thought? Did you Google that earlier today?
Nope.
Don't tell us.
Just a Terra Sinube fan.
My God. Okay.
It's hard to
then we get the
argue
shot.
that the color is red and not blue. when
Cassian.
you-
I was so
Never mind.
close.
Never mind. It's red then. Never mind. Never mind. Discredited.
He was just about to walk that back. If you can pull that out correctly, he
Yeah.
would have given you the blue drop.
What did I say? It's Cassian, and I said
I think you said a Costian? A Costian?
We will
I don't
only
remember.
know.
You said it so quickly.
next time.
I mean, it was there. I
gotta hit the books.
To you. Then we get that shot of the unmasked Mandalorian staring down the white water serpent, which is just kind of what I'm calling it, but I think that's a pretty apt description. Nightmare fuel. Snakes are like my biggest fear, and that thing is terrifying.
Snakes with teeth.
And
yeah.
seeing Mandalorian have to confront that thing one-on-one without his helmet, I can't imagine how he feels. He looks naked without his helmet on.
He looks scared.
So
He gets
I don't
shot
know.
in the head so consistently. I would be horrified to be even a little bit unarmored.
So
It also
The
looks.
un-
Sorry, Max.
well, I was just gonna say the unmasking happens right in front of the huts where they have that line that I said you will suffer, and then it'll be his turn. So presumably this snake monster is him, and I just kind of have this feeling now that like every hut has a Jabba the Hutt-esque trapdoor into a
Yes.
Rancor or equivalent monster room, and that's exactly what happens here. They drop him into this pit with this monster, and they're all gonna watch him fight it.
That's their MO.
Yep.
Yeah, it is, and I think that's a fascinating little beat of Hutt lore that if you're dealing with a Hutt, you should probably just watch out for that.
The twins walked up to Boba Fett in the Book of Boba Fett without a Rancor one time, and they just had to turn around and go back home. They were like, fuck this, never again.
Yep.
So that shot of the whitewater serpent was interesting because I went back and I relooked at that original poster, the one that I like that you guys hated, and there is a little shot of that scene of him staring down that monster, but you see him from the back, and the art is like kind of stylized in a way that you can't really tell whether or not he's wearing a helmet or not. But I thought that was interesting because
Oh yeah, he is in
I
that
feel like
poster.
we talked about that poster for a while,
Oh.
and I didn't really pay much attention to that little snippet of it there.
That's
but
cool.
now that I see in the trailer, it's like, oh yeah, that's absolutely what that is.
I'm liking that poster more. I'm walking it back. I like the first
It's a
trailer
great
more.
poster.
I like the poster more. I also think that's an
Every poster that they've released since this one has been all downhill, in my opinion.
yeah.
They've been too clean and streamlined, and
That
it's just a picture. It's just a picture.
I agree with
This
that. That
is
is not
art.
fun. These are fun. The Whitewater Serpent, Max, I think it's a great way. It's a great name. Don't know if you saw that. I'm going to just say you came up with it. I do think that is a practical effect, maybe an animatronic when we see it raise out of the water. Because, as you all know, we've talked about this multiple times, animatronics of big things are one of my biggest fears. Obviously very CG from the side, but that gave me the absolute willies. And it's that is hard to do in a trailer, I think, for me, and that did it for me. I did not enjoy that. The side view when it's massive, for some reason, not as scary to me. I hate things submerged in water. They come out of the water. I'll never go on the Jurassic Park ride in my entire life, unless I want to die. If I have a weird execution style, that might be it. But yeah, and to show the scope of how big it is, with Mando standing in the water with it is really freaky, and I just like that quite a bit. But can we move on to
two
get to
very
Zeb?
different reasons, but I'm glad that you and I both were equally freaked out by that.
Yes, yeah, it really did.
That is legitimately terrifying. All right, and then we get that little scene or shot of Zeb kicking some butt in the hall. Pretty sure that was the same shot that was already in the trailer, so
I know.
or in the teaser. So no new Zeb content.
I know.
other
Different
than,
angle,
I think
though.
there's like one line where he says, "I like this kid."
Yeah.
But the lack of additional Zeb content does make me feel more confident that he is going to be a very minimal role, and we're not going to be seeing him too much.
Yeah, I agree. I'm imagining just from the marketing perspective of when you get some sort of, or he's really integral to the third act, and that's why they're like, we can only show hints of him. I've also dealt with that stuff before, but the fact that it's the same shot in this trailer and we get so much new content from every other character does make me worried as well. Where it's like you can only show him in this this context in this hallway, and I know there's some Star Wars fan doing these ads being like, shit, we can only show Zeb for this one, this 10 seconds.
You see, I know exactly what you're talking about, but I disagree that this gives the vibe of a trailer made entirely from the first act. Because I have seen a lot of trailers where I'm like, this seems like all of this happens in a very close amount of time, and then you watch the movie and it's exactly that. And I mean, you're right. It's what you said. Like, the entire third act wasn't included in the trailer at all, and that's a good movie-going experience, and I like that. I don't think that is what's happening here, though, because they travel to so many different places in this trailer. And, I mean, we're seeing them deal with Imperial remnants to the Hutts to, aliens and monsters and everything like that. I can't imagine that all of this, or most of it, is...
I think it's a fake out,
limited
Maxwell.
to
I
one
think
act.
I think he's going to be like, we're going to go through everyone in your deck, and I think it's going to be a Act 1 montage, basically, of him going through all these different planets.
Ugh, that'd be so cool.
And then, I mean, I think that's the only way to do it. You can't, without it being a TV show, I don't think you can be like, in Act 1, we go to the ice planet. In Act 2, we do this. I think it's going to be a montage. Whether it's going to be 10 minutes or 15 minutes, I think it's going to be a longer montage of Act 1 of them going and getting all these.
That's going to be so annoying, though, because nothing is ever good enough. And if that is exactly what happens, a lot of people, myself included, are going to overanalyze all of those captures and been like, oh, that should have been an entire episode.
Yeah.
And it's like, it was, but then they did the movie because you guys didn't like the show.
And I think that he's going to mess with the wrong people, presumably Rod of the Hutt. And then whatever happens to Rod of the Hutt. Is Rod of the Hutt, is this the most up-to-date we've seen these characters? I don't know.
We haven't seen Rod of the Hutt since the Clone Wars movie when he was a baby.
Yeah, so I'm going to say Rod of the Hutt dies, and then that's why the Hutts send Embo after Mandalorian and Grogu, which then sparks the rest of the movie. That's going to be my guess for the plot. And maybe not... Yeah, I'm going to say Rod of the Hutt dies. Or gets captured or some shit. But then that's what's going to spark the Hutts to send Embo out to get Mando.
I don't think
And then,
Rod of the Hutt is going to be a very prestigious character in universe. I think he's going to be like trying to tell everyone that he's Jabba's son, so he deserves this and that, and no one cares and no one likes him, and he's just kind of like trying to earn a name for himself, and he's pretty low level at this point. That's my theory.
Yeah, and I feel like the Hutts can go either one of two ways because they are, a criminal syndicate and very self-interested, where it's like as soon as one of you die, it's like, all right, you're no good to us anymore. Like, just claiming to be Jabba's son doesn't mean anything when Jabba's dead. But maybe it's the exact opposite, and they're like loyal to a fault, and they hold Rod of the Hutt to extreme loyalty, and it will be something like Matt said, like he dies and the entire Hutts are going after him for revenge because... I don't know.
Also, the entire Hutts is vague and indiscriminate because Vader killed the Hutt Council in the comics, except for Jabba, before Return of the Jedi. So the power of the Hutts is incredibly nerfed, less than I think the average viewer would assume, unless they just kind of retcon that, because the average viewer assumes that they're very powerful. But I don't think they're going to be the main antagonist of this movie, and I'm kind of surprised that you guys do, just on the basis of they have more of a presence in this trailer than the Imperials. That implies to me that the Imperials will actually be the bigger villain.
One we've seen so far who could be the antagonist. But that gets to my theory we'll talk about in a minute, that it'll actually be Colonel Ward. But... we're almost through the trailer, so let's just keep going, because then we get the shot of the creature ripping off the door in that same city/planet that we talked about earlier, the one with the Ardinian, and he starts causing chaos. Again, that creature looked awesome, and appears to be the same creature from the Djarik game from A New Hope that Chewbacca uses to defeat 3PO, or no, vice versa. So that was cool that we get to see that creature kind of go from the Djarik table to live action.
Yeah, that looked like fun action. I have no strong feelings or takes on it. Grogu stealing that little Rhodian baby's carrier seemed like...
It's not stealing if it was abandoned.
Is that the law?
Ask the lawyer.
Yeah, that is the law. I mean, because if you put something out on your tree lawn, other people are allowed to take it, and that's not stealing.
What if I leave my stroller because I'm in an active shooter situation or something?
Mine.
Well, there's various factors that go into whether or not something was abandoned. No, I think if you have to leave it behind out of necessity, then it's probably not considered abandoned. But
Seemed like that's what was happening, right?
you know, that's what lawyers are for. We can make the case. I'm stepping in on behalf of Grogu. It's also not stealing if it's needed out of necessity as well.
That's interesting. Yeah.
That's not. Don't anyone quote that.
I was like, Max, you can go free law advice. It's a necessity. I have a new Star Wars helmet, so I took it. Fuck off, GameStop. They sell it at GameStop. I don't even know.
They do.
Everything I'm saying has a big asterisk to it. But Matt, you can just go ahead and edit this with a montage of what's his name from Arrested Development saying, "I have the worst fucking lawyer."
No, if you're
Luke
making
and
a
I right now.
montage, I want you to make a montage of all of the times when we were watching Ahsoka season 1 and you kept waiting for Zeb to show up and getting excited that Zeb might show up, and it was everyone but Zeb, and now here we are, the other side of the coin, it's only Zeb, and you were just having the time of your life.
I am excited for Zeb.
But then, yeah, so that was the last shot. Grogu hops in the tram, and the two ride in to save the day. And then we get that little cute little hook of Grogu snacking on some biscuits and Mandalorian telling him, let's save the rest for after dinner. Which, again, overanalyzing every single dialogue in a trailer is my MO. And if you just want to dwell on that for a second, let's save the rest for after dinner. It's a great line to end a trailer on, because it's like, you're just giving us a little taste. And it's like, we haven't even gotten to the meat and potatoes. Like, what's left in the movie that you're not telling us? And you can say, like, oh, this line's just a coincidence. That's absolutely not what they're trying to get at, but I don't fucking care.
That is crazy. I that is my official stance. That exactly what you said. That's funny that this happened. So, what was the last thing? Bad Batch season 3, or was it Andor? I forget. But
It's
yeah,
everything that has a trailer. These trailers are so intentional.
Also,
Nah, I
Bad
don't
Batch
see
season
it.
3 still
Good trailers are.
not reviewed by ForceForThought canonically. Talked about, but not reviewed.
Well, we'll get there. It'll come. All right, but anyway, so that's the trailer, and I do want to get into a little bit of thoughts and predictions. I guess we were kind of already talking about them. Starting with Colonel Ward being the bad guy. Like I said, cannot take claim for this theory, but I saw it and I was like, oh, actually, that would kind of make a lot of sense. Because, Luke, I agree with you. I don't think that the Hutts are going to be like the main big bad in this movie, and I don't know who is. We really don't know a whole lot about the plot, like, other than he's just a freelance bounty hunter for the New Republic. So it made sense to me that they were like, well, I mean, Sigourney Weaver's not a no-name actress. Like, they brought her in for some reason, and she's not around. Well, I mean, I don't know. I don't want to... Whatever. She's not around by the time of the First Order or anything like that. And
that doesn't matter.
No, it doesn't. That's why I kind of walked it back before I said it. But regardless, there's a trope of, good guys taking people out on a list that they're given without, thinking too far into it. That turn out to be like, oh, actually, I'm doing something bad here. And I don't know. That could be kind of the aspect that they play into. It could be a interesting twist on, a bounty hunter, because he is a bounty hunter, and how many times can you really tell that same story over and over again? So I don't know. It was out there, and I'm not opposed to it.
It's interesting. I think that she is I mean, I could be wrong, but I also feel like she is probably slotting in for where Carl Weathers was supposed to be. Is my gut instinct as well. I know that's not
That's what I was
necessarily
thinking.
does anymore, but the fact that Carl Weathers is dead and all of a sudden
But
someone
Carl
else
Weathers
is
wasn't New Republic.
that's true, but also I feel like they presumably changed some things around, is my guess, and then that
Yeah,
aspect presumably isn't that as big as everyone's thinking because
But the things that they changed was pre-Mando season 3. I mean, they're not just no. Oh no, because he did just die recently.
yeah, he died
Uh,
before she was cast or anything.
Yeah.
And then also,
I agree
guess
with Matt.
I don't know
That's-
what you mean
Okay.
by big bad because I think the Hutts are going to be the driving factor. And I've been rewatching the Godfather films as well, and for some reason, the Hutts feel like they mirror that aspect a lot. And it is one of those things where the Godfather, in the Corleone family, they might not be doing all the killing all the time, which I guess it would be, the bads like Embo, but they are the people that lurk and are putting on applying pressure. And I think that's where I don't think the Hutts are going to be in every scene. I don't think they're going to be a consistently physical threat, but I do think they're going to be the big bads for the fact that they are putting pressure on Mandalorian, separating him and Grogu, whatever it is. I mean, we do see Grogu and Mandalorian separated a lot in this as well. And I think that, once again, they're going to get got. They're going to get caught, be forced to separate. And then that's where, again, they're going to do a job wrong. I'm pretty sure the first act will be all these different planets because I don't think you can fit in these planets naturally into a movie. Big Bing Bang Boom with what we have so far. And I think the third act will be Mando and Grogu coming back together, finding their way with different pieces of the puzzle to eventually get the Hutts down. Again, the Hutts being the bigger bad, but I think Embo and those kind of people are going to be the people that are actually on the hunt and again hunting the hunters. But I think the end goal, again, maybe less screen time, but I think overarching the Embo, the Hutts will be there, mixed with, the New Republic and yada yada.
I think the Hutts are going to have an overall minor role. But what I'm thinking about right now, and I started thinking about it when you suggested an early montage to take us to all of these locations that we're seeing. If Grogu and Mandalorian split up and each one explores 2 or 3 locations independently, then we could get it that way. But now I'm just thinking about like the perspective of the movie, because in the show, it's all the Mandalorian's perspective. Like there is very rarely, if ever, a scene without the Mandalorian. Like sometimes we see briefly before he enters a scene and briefly after, but you never like cut to anyone else's story ever. And so
It's true.
you can't do that for this movie, but I guess maybe you can. But if you don't,
Yeah.
it'll feel different, but we also want it to feel different. I don't know. What do you think
We
about
cut
that?
we cut to Luke training Grogu, and I think that's gonna be the same thing with whoever. I mean, he's gonna be out presumably kind of
Do we?
honing
'Cause
his
that-
skills.
That's a different show.
It is, but I think that's what's going to be the same thing. I know, okay, semantics, Book of Boba Fett, but their storyline. But I have a feeling that that's what's going to be. He's going to go do a job by himself or whatever, right? Grogu's going to go to that plane where I'm going to call him the pod racer creature is talking on a front porch like an old Southern man. Presumably that's the same place Grogu's meditating, but at night. The vibe I got from the woodsy forest around him. Presumably that's when Mando's going to get captured is what my guess would be. And then Grogu is going to be doing his own adventure and presumably try to help break him out or whatever, which is with, in my mind, all Babu Fricks as well.
Well, if Embo is approaching Grogu at Din Djarin's homestead, I think that's where he's going to get taken, which I am on board for that. I looked back, and that does look like Mando's house on Navarro.
Wait, who's going to get taken? I don't think they're going to be there is the other thing. I think that's where Embo's going to go look, but I think they're going to be long gone by then.
No, we see Grogu in that scene with Embo. Well, we see.
Do we?
It's not in a shot with Embo, but Embo looks at something, and then there's a shot of Grogu in the dark rain also.
I look back. We just went through the whole thing, and I don't remember it. I don't think Grogu's going to get taken, though, is the thing. I think that's already been done, and that was the whole part of the first one, so I think they're just going to, like, separate for, like, I'll be right back kind of thing, and then he's not going to be right back.
How could he not get
I think
taken,
that
though?
would be good.
He doesn't have any agency. He can't just choose to do things on his own. He has to have other people do the things for him. And outside of Mando taking him along and someone else taking him, I don't see how they can make a movie.
I think he's going to be left. I think
And
Mando's going to be the damsel in distress kind of in this a little bit. And it's about fucking time too because he's bad at fighting. Besides in that one scene we saw him shoot those snowtroopers. Max, weigh in
I
here.
do kind of agree with Matt because I think like the next step in Mandalorian and Grogu's story is to reverse the role. Mandalorian has already saved Grogu a number of times. Now, Mandalorian is taking Grogu under his wing. He's teaching him the ropes. Mandalorian gets caught, and now Grogu's going to have to be the one to step up to save Mandalorian. I think that would make sense. I would like to see it a little more agency from Grogu at this point, and I would like to see it from his perspective. I mean, I understand that they can't just call this The Mandalorian the movie, but they did name it The Mandalorian and Grogu. So, I mean, they are giving Grogu agency in that sense already. You know, they're giving him co-billing as the co-lead of the film. So,
Yeah, I hope I'm wrong because, like, narratively, I agree, but just logistically, how do you make a movie about Grogu doing something when he can't talk or do most actions? Like, he's a baby. I know
think
they're
that's where you
giving him
get-
more abilities, but
The cast of
well,
people
not to
around
overstate
him.
it.
right?
I don't think that's going to be like the entire plot of the film.
Same.
I just think that is a good plot point to include in the movie. That
Yeah,
he
it's a
will have
beat.
to at some point rescue Mando,
I hope so. I agree that would be cool.
presumably from the Whitewater Serpent. But I don't know, because that's the whole thing. I like the theory about the montage and that we really don't know what the entire third act is, because
It's got to be.
I want to subscribe to that, but I feel like if we didn't, and this was, you know, scattered throughout the entire movie, I still have no idea what the plot is. So I don't know. It's very exciting. The other thing about about Grogu, going back to that conversation though, is that, you know, there is still more backstory to explore there. So we saw a little bit of Grogu at the Jedi Temple during the Purge, and that's about it. We've seen a lot of Mandalorian's backstory in his TV show. So my other theory was maybe we get a little bit more backstory into Grogu, maybe some backstory into his species. Maybe this is where we finally get a name drop of the species or where they're from or anything, you know, about that. Because like I alluded to when we were going through the trailer scene by scene, there is a part where, you know, presumably it looks like he is on some sort of mystical journey of self-discovery, and maybe that's him trying to learn a little bit about his past.
It's crazy
call?
to think how far we've come. I remember people talking about that in like season 1 of The Mandalorian, and I thought you can't explore the Grogu Yoda species without Yoda because it's Yoda's species and he's such a bigger deal. But I mean, over the last 6 years, it's Grogu's species. We've talked about that. Oh, we will talk about that over the next couple of weeks. But yeah, like Yoda is Grandpa Grogu, and Grogu has solidified himself in pop culture as the definitive member of that species. So I think they do have a good opportunity to delve into that, and that would be really interesting. I like that idea.
Yeah.
Matthew, what do you think?
Well, I think I've said everything I needed to say, and the last thing I'll say
All
again
right,
is
perfect.
I think he'll talk. He'll say his first words.
Yeah,
I mean, that's not a.
I think this seems like a good time to
Right.
start incorporating that, because we know that they speak, like, it's
Yeah.
only so long. And how old is he at this point? He's like 50 years old.
50-something.
And at most they live to be 900 until they die of old age. So it's like he's already 1/18 through his life, and he doesn't have like a word in the English dictionary yet, or basic dictionary. So yeah, I think so too. It seems like a good opportunity to do it. It's not that I want it to happen. It's just like it makes sense.
How do you feel about the Hutt speaking basic as well? That's the one thing I wanted to bring up actually that I did not. There's no sort of.
Hey, that's what they do in the Book of Boba Fett, so I've already made my peace with it. It was jarring
Yeah.
then. I'm okay with it now.
Yeah, for some reason it stuck out in a movie form, maybe, or it stuck out to me a lot more now than it did in Book of Boba Fett, and I just accepted it then. And now I'm like, wait. But
It doesn't bother me so much because the voice acting was at least cool. It was menacing and appropriate. Going back to Clone Wars and listening to Zero the Hutt speak basic,
no,
it is the most goofy ass thing in the world.
yes, I dislike that quite a bit. But also the design
Yeah.
too, you know, it's hard. It's hard.
Speaking with such like a high pitched Cajun accent or something. Yeah, it's goofy, but no, it did not bother me here.
It didn't bother me either. So I just was something I'm like, it stuck out to me.
My official theory is that Imperial Man in winter coat that we saw briefly is going to be the main villain. I'm really excited to see him. He had a cool winter coat on after I paused it and really examined that shot. I'm excited to see more of that character.
We have not finished our season 3 rewatch yet. I saw somebody say, but I have not verified, that he is in the Shadow Council that we see in season 3.
I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't feel
that would make sense.
anything about it,
but I would like that that connectivity, and I do wonder how big of a role that he has. Because
I'm gonna say
Star Wars
minor.
is so interesting because people are in it in such a minor role, and then they're like, "Oh, actually, we're gonna have you be like this huge major role moving forward," and it's like just a random actor who's just kind of stumbled into it.
Yeah. I think if
it
he was
also
gonna
took
be,
me.
No,
Go ahead. I'm going to say something unrelated.
I was just, if he was a bigger part in it, I think he'd be a more recognizable face, and they would be setting him up to be more like Krennic. I think he's going to be the last factor in this montage that's going to set Mando up to wherever he needs to go. That's going to continue the rest of the story. Again, I think he would need to be just a more recognizable face in order to be the villain. Like even like Krennic is like a recognizable actor. Like I don't know who Hemke Madera is. No offense to Hemke Madera.
So what? Yeah, they could cast an unknown in that role. It doesn't need to be a famous person. Peter Cushing was also one of the only famous people in A New Hope.
Yeah, besides Alec Guinness, but I agree. But those were like, I think when you have someone like Sigourney Weaver, this is the no stop. You know, you're pulling kind of not pulling any punches with casting in this regard. We have Martin Scorsese as a random alien. I think the main villain is going to be a pretty big person. I mean, Jeremy Allen White is Rod of the Hutt. Yeah, I don't think this random guy is the main villain of this movie.
And
I still do.
My
Good
final
on you.
prediction, just to kind of get it out there and to start bracing you guys for it now, because I know when it hits your ears, you're going to hate it. But we will see the return of Jabba the Hutt.
In a flashback, or?
No, he has survived. And I know what you're thinking, but Max, he was choked to death and then exploded. Characters in Star Wars have come back from so much worse fates than that. All right, this is all about the Hutts. I would not be surprised if at the very end we're like, oh, we got to find Rod of the Hutt. Oh, he's working for these Hutt twins. And then at the very end, it's like, oh, the big bad is actually a cybernetic Jabba the fucking Hutt. Oh, it would just tickle me so right.
I think in a movie you can only get one they have returned, and we've gotten the Razor Crest. I don't think you can do double.
I cannot in good faith say any character cannot possibly return in Star Wars.
What have they done?
That's all I have to say. I would be shook, but it is not outside the realm of possibility, I suppose.
Yes,
all right, very good.
Maybe
I
it's
just wanted to plant that seed now.
Maybe it's like Groot, and he comes
when it
back and
happens.
he's just a worm, and it's like, no, it's actually Jabba, but this is just how they regenerate.
Oh God.
Could that be? Is that canon? How much do we know about Hutts?
Have we ever seen any
I
others
hate that
die?
I'm not-
No, they all died in the comics, and they did not regenerate, as far as we know. But who knows?
As far as we know.
As far as we
Maybe they
know,
come back here. But anyway,
Disney
those were
Lucasfilm's
the
favorite phrase.
as far as we know. Do either of you guys have any other theories or predictions for the movie?
I think I'm going to really feel Grief Karga's absence, partly because I'm just rewatching Mandalorian season 3.
Do not. I think that is crazy that you guys think that.
Well, I wouldn't have thought
He's
that
so
so
specific
much.
to Navarro.
I just felt Cara Dune's absence in season 3 of Mando, and this is very similar.
Because they went back to Navarro where she was supposed to be.
They're on Navarro. What do you mean? They are. That's where he lives.
He's working for the New Republic. The New Republic isn't on Navarro.
But he is. His homestead is. Embo's gonna be.
Yeah, for that scene. I don't think Navarro is going to be a pretty big role. If the city of Navarro is significant to the plot, then yes, I will agree that Grief Karga's absence will be jarring, but I
No.
don't think it will be.
It won't be significant to the plot, and if it was, they would have rewritten it the day the day Carl Weathers died, but claimed they waited a week for respect. But no, there's no way Navarro's going to be that important because Carl Weathers has passed.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. Okay, well, does anyone have any force for thought to end us out with?
I think our beautiful host does.
I have one today. So I was watching the Mandalorian and Grogu trailer, and
Oh.
I don't know if we talked about this before, but I just thought it was so interesting that when Mandalorian gets his helmet ripped off, he has a mustache.
I was thinking the same thing.
He's purely just doing that for himself. Like, he just is a guy who just takes pride in his own appearances for himself. He full well has no intention of anyone ever seeing it, but it's well manicured. Like, he doesn't have any other facial hair. He just has a well-groomed mustache.
I noticed this. I had the same exact thought, and the fact of I can't imagine him finding time to shave his mustache after bathing in the mines of Mandalore, after going through all this shit, and then risking shaving. He should have I think he should have like a gnarly beard or something. It just feels so crazy to me that it's a nice kempt mustache. I love it.
I think I would. I don't know what I would do, but I know that if no human would ever see my face again, I'm not going to look like this. Why would I care?
It's got to be
But,
canonically itchy to have neckbeard in a Mandalorian helmet. I think that's what this means.
Yeah, that's a good call, Luke. I think so.
Mustache does not itch. Chin and face
Why
beard
wouldn't
does.
he shave the mustache, though? He just likes having a mustache.
It's like a cop.
Oh.
You can only have a cop. You can have a mustache or nothing, like a Boba Fett. Those are 2 examples right now.
He shaves the beard for utility purposes, for the itch, and then, like what you were saying, no one will ever see him, so what's the point of shaving the mustache if it doesn't itch? I think it's an itch thing.
Okay. So you think he shaves the beard because it itches, but since no one's going to see his face, he just leaves the mustache because he's too lazy to do it and no one's going to see it?
I think he
Yes.
saw Lando and said, "Fuck, that's cool. I need a stash."
Do you think he ever tells anyone that? Do you think it's against the Mandalorian creed to describe in great detail what you look like?
No, they go on blind dates for sure.
Forever blind. No, I think it is against the Mandalorian creed. I don't think you could ask someone their eye color. That's like asking someone if they're circumcised in Mandalorian culture. Like you just can't talk about that with people. That's personal and private.
You
Disagree.
just marry him and find out.
Disagree. I'm a big asker about circumcision. I gotta know.
You gotta know.
Well, we know. All right, you can edit that joke out. All right.
If we're gonna edit it out, I would like to talk about it further. That's a fire. Only us appreciate.
It'd make me do more work. Yeah, I'm glad
Let
you
us know
said
what
that,
you
Luke,
think.
because then it goes into. We put
Clarified.
No, you are editing this out. Yeah.
It's a religious thing. I'm not gonna edit any of this out. I'm just gonna put bleeps everywhere.
It's gonna sound so much worse with bleeps.
That would
I
be
know.
so funny, though.
Isn't it? I'm gonna do it. I think that's funny. And nothing was even that bad.
okay,
It just
well.
sounds funny with bleeps in it.
If you're listening to this and we've just had a lot of bleeps, just know that it wasn't that inappropriate. Matthew just thinks it's funny. All right. I feel like that covers enough of our
Yeah.
bases. Let us know what you think. Let us know what you think of Mandalorian and Grogu, the trailer, what thoughts you have, any other theories or predictions.
Plug the droid color. Comment about the droid color.
Oh, yeah. And if you feel so inclined, feel free to comment what color you think that R2 unit was.
Even if you
think it
don't
was
feel so
blue and white
inclined,
or...
consider it a personal favor to me.
Okay. If you're listening to these words that I am saying, please reach out to us and let us know what color you think is.
It was
You
on
can
the
reach
screen.
out to
Matt,
us.
don't forget to edit that onto the screen.
Oh,
People
yeah,
have to see it.
I agree.
I'll have to pull it. I'll try to make it part of the thumbnail so that people can see it and if they're watching on YouTube.
Oh God, you going full clickbait and you're gonna red or blue?
Yeah.
Is this the new 2011 dress? That wasn't 11. What year do you think that was?
2015.
I'm gonna say 13.
Somewhere around there.
It was my senior year of high school, so it was 2014-15 school year. If that helps.
That's crazy that you remember that.
It was 2015.
So
yeah.
there you go. Well,
All right.
let us know. Let us know what you think. Let us know what you think of the movie, the trailer. But please, God, let us know what color you think that astromech was. You can reach out to us across social media at ForceForThought, or you could email us at forceforthought@gmail.com.